All right, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for beer sports, talking a whole lot more. Yankees Hype Week. Here we go. Number one, brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420SEAT at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other great podcasts, such as my guys over there at the Craft Brewed Sports, Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock. 8 o'clock Eastern time. Make sure you give them a watch on YouTube. Today we are joined by Luke from Here's the Thing Sports on Twitter. How you doing, Luke?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. A little bit of a stress-free couple of days. The ALCS wrapped up a late Saturday night extra innings victory. Everybody's a very Yankee fan. You were watching that. If you're a baseball fan, I hope you were watching that. What was your thoughts going into let's start a little early. Going into Game 5. On Saturday night, we had Rodon on the hill. When I say we, I mean I wasn't playing, but we were Yankee fans, so we can say that. What was your thoughts going into Game 5 on Saturday night?
I just needed a great start out of Rodon. It didn't matter how many innings. Well, I know it was a relatively short outing, but like he did what he needed to do. So, yeah, that was. Honestly, as long as we could go have him go 4, 5, 6 innings at least of clean baseball, that was going to be the biggest thing because, in my opinion, the bullpen was going to give me a heart attack at some point, as they have in the past. But in all honesty, I was really, really nervous going into that game. I was like, I really don't want to go back to the Bronx to try to close this out.
I felt the same way because eventually the bullpens can be bullpens and you never know what you're going to get because enough time you put the ball. I say it on my podcast all the time. You start putting into too many people's hands, it's eventually going to go south. And I had full faith in Cole in the Game 6, but you never know. Good start, bad start, like he's been in these playoffs, and you just never know what could happen. You give a team like Cleveland, who's not supposed to, when you give them a breath, you never know what could happen. You look at the back to 2004 with the Red Sox, how they came back from 3-0. You just never know what could have happened. But it turned out really well for the Yankees. That at bat, talk about that at bat, because I was at my in-laws' house watching the game, so I was a little more reserved than I would have been in my own basement, obviously watching the game. But what was your thought process going into extra innings and the Soto at bat specifically?
Oh man, the Soto at bat. I remember seeing that pitch. I was like, at first glance, I was like, there's no way he just nuked that into oblivion. I'm like, there's no way. And then I see it hop over the fence. I'm like, I'm trying not to scream because it's me and my mom in the house, and I don't want my mom waking up in the middle of the night. So I'm like, oh, no way. I'm just saying, let's go. Let's go. Like, I'm all fired up. Like, I'm trying to keep, be reserved as well, because at this point, it was already well into the night. So, I mean, I was just so fired up. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, just close it down now. Just close it down. Don't make this a stressful half inning coming up. And it was honestly one of the best moments of my life. And I know we still have the World Series to get to, but that home run and that at bat is going to be ingrained in my memory for a long time.
The thing that gets lost in that Soto at bat, it was such a great moment, and it's already in Foreverland in Yankee world. But that gets lost in that at bat was the play before with the error the Guardians committed to even give the Yankees a chance to get in there, because the Guardians should have been out of the inning right there, and just it gets forgotten a lot of books. It's not even really shown on the highlight packages post game or anything. It's like they may not even have that chance. You never know what might have happened, because when you're down in a 5-2 situation going up to bat, it's a lot different than being tied 2-2. How you got to manage that inning. The Guardians did. They didn't get anything out of that inning. But what's your when that error was made? Did you go, oh, this changed everything?
I'm like, I'm trying. Honestly, I was trying to stay reserved. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens here. So if Soto gets a base hit, keep it going. Let's see what happens. That was my mindset at that point. I'm like, all right, let's keep getting some base hits here. Maybe get a run or two, and then the home run happened, and I was going ballistic. So I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. I'll gladly take it.
Oh yeah, they don't ask how, they ask how many. The way that one turned out. Let's go. Let's go to Giancarlo Stanton. I'm be the first one to say back when the season first started. Like I have this thing on the podcast where Brent was wrong, and I was completely wrong because I said when the season first started because nobody's really a Stanton apologist throughout the regular season. Anybody says they are, they're lying. But so I'm just one of those. He's been his weight and goal. But I said in the past that the Yankees will never win a World Series as long as Giancarlo Stanton's on this Yankees team because he's had some rough years. There's no getting around that. Rough regular season. You don't know how much health he's going to have, but this guy is slowly chiseling his way to a monument out in Monument Park. If the Yankees can pull this one off, Stanton might be the guy that got him there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Stanton has been incredible this postseason. He has been, I mean, aside from Juan Soto, he's been the clutchest hitter on the team this postseason. I mean, home run, what feels like home run every other game that I've watched. You know, it's just been incredible. And I think he's at what, like 16 postseason home runs, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's just been incredible to watch, especially after the season that, you know, the rough season that he's had. Especially when he gets in those slumps during the regular season, that could be really deflating at times. I mean, it's just been a joy to watch. It really has been. And like you said, I think he easily could, if the Yankees do pull this off and beat the Dodgers in the World Series, I think he can easily get a monument out there in Monument Park.
Very, very easily because it's champions that heroes are made in the Bronx. It's one of those things. Like there's another guy that we haven't talked about yet, but it's hard not to talk to. But Aaron Judge has done everything you could ask for in a regular season. Hasn't had a great postseason throughout his career. Not bad, but not as great as his regular season because it's tough to do. You can't hit a home run every at bat in the postseason. It's not possible. But Aaron Judge is another guy to solidify his greatness and maybe get himself a monument out there as well. Judge needs this as much as Yankee fans need quote unquote need. Because don't really need a World Series. I still got to go to work the next day anyways. But Judge kind of needs this one, needs himself to a World Series to get himself maybe a chance at that upper echelon of greatness in Yankees lore.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we already know how great of a hitter he is, especially during the regular season. I mean, it's been incredible. If he can get going in the postseason, it would be even better. I mean, I know he had that one home run a few games ago. I believe that was, game 3? I want to say that was game 3. And I thought that would get him going. Hopefully in this series, he gets going immediately. The bat starts to heat up because, again, he's a really big part of this team. He's been a big part of this team for a while now. So hopefully the Yankees can come through. He can come through and definitely get a World Series to all but solidify his legacy as a Yankee great.
This team's been licking the jar a little bit since 2017. We won't bring up those no good cheating Astros. I've forgiven, but I'll never forget. It's one of those things. But since 2017, this team's been in the playoffs. They didn't make it last year, but they've been a couple of ALCSs and had some chances. And then this year, there was and I don't know why. That's how Yankee fans are. We complain about the stupidest things all the time, and we complain for team was in first place throughout in the American League and just finished a couple games behind the Dodgers. But was there ever a point, because you're a Yankees guy and I'm a Yankees guy, but was there ever a point this season you go, you know, what am I complaining about? This team is really, really good.
I mean, it feels like every time Juan Soto went yard, Soto or Judge or any one of those guys made the magic happen. Obviously, that one really big slump put a lot of doubt in my mind. You know, when guys just weren't hitting, you know, they were making defensive errors. Bullpen was imploding what felt like every other game, every other night. And then, of course, you know, Clay Holmes, you know, every time he came into a closing spot, you know, and would end up giving up like a game-tying 2-run home run or a game-tying hit or a walk-off home run. But, you know, after that slump started to die down, I'm like, you know, maybe, just maybe, they'll get some other pieces. You know, the trade deadline, you know, I know they got Mark Leiter Jr., They obviously got Jazz Chisholm, but really, honestly, it was like around that point where, the doubt started to really like subside a little bit. But obviously, that slump definitely did not help.
That's the thing with gutsy with like you have your closers throughout the season. Holmes is what he is. And you can't say that he's because he was really good this past week for the Yankees when he came out mid relief. Maybe it's just that close mentality coming out of the pen like that. It's just a little bit different when push comes to shove. That's a gutsy move by I'm sure it wasn't just Aaron Boone pulling the trigger on that. There was a lot of meetings and everything else but for the Yankees brass to say, you know what, this isn't our guy anymore. We have to move on and find a closer because this might be our one and only shot to get this done. That's a gutsy move by the Yankees, their brass to make the decision to move on from Holmes.
Yeah, I to be honest, I never thought they would do it because after hearing the quotes from Cashman about Clay Holmes staying confident with Clay Holmes as the closer, I'm like, all right, there's no way they're moving on from him. And then hearing that, I was like, all right, who are we working with here? And then obviously Luke Weaver, who's been absolutely incredible since entering the role. That's been insane to watch. And again, going back since Clay Holmes went back to the bullpen, he's been incredible this postseason. Obviously, he's had the one moment, I believe it was Game 3 against the Guardians, where things kind of went haywire a little bit. But that's out of your control. But other than since he moved back to the pen as a relief pitcher, it seems to be a lot. It seems to be paying off more. And again, with Luke Weaver as the closer, coming out of nowhere, mind you, things are starting to pick up.
Yeah, Weaver was out of a job basically, like during the offseason. Didn't really have, he was pitched for a lot of organizations in the recent past, and for him to embrace this role, it's been quite remarkable. And the kind of the Cinderella story of these playoffs. I mean, every playoff has a hero per se, or some guy who comes out of nowhere to bolster the lineup a little bit. But this Luke Weaver guy, who looks like because my wife, she always says that kid looks like he should still be pitching in high school, like maybe a junior college, but like he is so young looking, but so he showed some emotion finally when that final out was made on Saturday night. But he's just so composed for a guy who looks like he could still be pitching for Bronx High out in the Bronx. It's remarkable that this guy's composure, because I can't imagine the pressure, because now he's not only playing for to be part of forever, but he's only making $1 million only. I thanks $1 million only, but for a guy to be playing for another contract later on, that's a lot of pressure for a young kid like that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm honestly, I'm just happy he's handled it as well as possible, because obviously there are going to be certain certain people that go into a role like that. Like, you have a lot of pressure on you, and he's handled it really well so far. And we'll see how he continues to handle it as we get ready for the final push against the Dodgers.
When the lights are going to get a little bit brighter and a little bit heavier and everything else. Mariano said it best years and years ago, pinstripes are heavy. And I think some of these guys are going to find out how heavy these pinstripes just might be. Let's go back a little bit in time. Your Yankee fandom, I'm sure, goes back quite some ways. What's some of your favorite playoff memories of the Yankees, or regular season memories, or stuff, and the fun stuff that we remember, and try to get rid of the negativity this week and go into the World Series on a positive note?
Yeah. So one of my favorite, this was a regular season moment, and it was when Luis Castillo dropped the ball on the A-Rod pop-up in that game against the Mets, that Subway Series game. And just because I remember where I was, it was I believe it was 8-7, 2 outs, Francisco Rodriguez on the mound trying to close it out for the Mets. And I was like, oh Lord. And then I see the pop-up. I'm like, oh Lord, this game's about to end. And then he dropped the ball, and I was just in utter shell shock. I'm like, no way did he just drop that. And then seeing the runners come across the plate and the Yankees win that game, I mean, that was one of the most hectic games I've ever watched as a Yankees fan, but it was also one of the most electric, during the regular season, obviously. But and then in terms of like postseason memories, I mean, it has to be, and this was like a temporary moment for me up until, obviously a certain someone ended our hopes in 2019, but that's besides the point. But this was the DJ LeMahieu go ahead, or not go ahead. It was the tying home run in the ALCS. I remember because I was in college with a bunch of my buddies. We were all watching the game live. We're all Yankees fans. And I saw that ball. The second I saw that ball go over the fielder's head and into the stands, we were just screaming. Like, at one point, like, our RA knocked on our door, like checking up on us, making sure everything was okay. And we had to tell them, like, yeah, everything's fine. And just seeing that tie game, and then obviously next inning, well, we all know what happened the following inning. But that's, again, that DJ LeMahieu home run was just absolutely electric. I mean,
yeah, I remember that one quite well. I was in a hotel out of town here for a baseball thing myself, and kind of LeMahieu was up to bat, hit that home run, and we go, okay, this might go a little bit longer. And we looked in the old beer fridge, and the wife was like, "We better go get some more. This might be a long one." And then as she was putting her jacket on and everything else, because I wasn't leaving to go get it. I'm staying. I gotta watch this. And then before you know it, it was over, and then it was just a buzzkill. Like it went from that's one that went from such a high to such a low so quick. And that's the thing about playoff baseball. It's just you play 162, and the playoffs can get long, and then before you know it, it can just be over. And most times, because your team doesn't win every year, most times it's either a season's over, or you're eliminated from the playoffs, or a playoff series is over, or a World Series is over. And just the finality of how long of it all, considering how long a baseball season is, and then it's just over. And it's just an empty feeling for me. And hopefully this year is a little bit different, even going to a World Championship, and it could be over in 4 games. Like we have a minimum of 4 games left, or maximum of 7. And hopefully it kind of goes our way. What's your thoughts on the finality of how it all just turns out that way?
Yeah, I mean, that, again, going back to that game was like, I was at the highest of highs at that point. I'm like, all right, where this game's going to carry on, maybe the series carries on. And then again, like you said, after that, it was just a buzzkill. I mean, but there have been so many moments, like, as a Yankee fan, where I've, experienced a lot of those highs. Like, obviously granted, when I saw them last win the World Series when I was 10 years old, I'm 25 now. Like, yeah. I was 10, like, the last time they won the World Series. But, again, hopefully we can have more of those highs, and obviously a lot less of those lows, if that makes sense. Yeah. Probably could have reworded that a little better, but, and I will say there was one moment in particular, this again wasn't a postseason moment, but 2021, me and one of my buddies went to the final regular season game of the season at home at the Yankee. This was against the Rays, just before, they inevitably ended up losing the wild card to the Red Sox. But I remember it was just a 0-0 game, and it just felt like a playoff game. Yeah. Because the stadium was all packed in, 0-0 heading into the bottom of the 9th, and then Aaron Judge walk-off single, like, just sent the place, like it got the roof, it got the entire stadium jumping. And it was just absolutely electric. So hopefully, with this World Series starting soon, hopefully we can get some more electric moments at the stadium.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like I've been fortunate to go to New York. I'm up in Western Canada, so I've had to make the trek there, like during the middle of the afternoon isn't a thing for me. I got to plan a little bit. I've been there to 7 different series, and I've seen some walk-offs. I signed 2 back-to-back ones against Oakland in 2019 when that team was going on to great things, and it was September, so things were starting to pick up a little bit, and the Yankees were on to something. And I saw back-to-back walk-offs against Oakland. It was phenomenal the way that place got rocking. I think that's one thing that the Yankees have not been doing well throughout these playoffs, is scoring runs early and often, because they've been getting runners on base every game early. The last couple of games they have capitalized on that. What's your thoughts on Gleyber Torres just being almost playing for his Yankee life a little bit? He doesn't have a contract at the end of this year, and he's been phenomenal getting on base on a nightly basis. Probably one of their most not for power. I think he's got 1 or 2 home runs in these playoffs. But what's your thoughts on Torres? How he's kind of he's not a young guy anymore. He came over in that 2016 trade for Aroldis Chapman, went across, and then the back and forth that Chapman did coming back to the Yankees. But Torres isn't a young guy anymore. But he's another guy that might find himself, if he can put together a series, the Yankees can win one. They'd be almost crazy. It's going to cost a lot of money, but whatever. If you win, you should pay people. What's your thoughts on Torres so far? And is he kind of like the unsung hero a little bit?
Oh, it's been a breath of fresh air seeing Gleyber play the way that he's been playing. I mean, it's been absolutely incredible, because as you know, going back to the regular season, he was struggling. He would make defend some major defensive errors. And he would be in a slump every now and then. But to see him come alive in October is just, again, it's just a breath of fresh air. Being able to see that take place, it feels like every time he's been up to bat, and like he's going to get on base immediately, and that's what it's felt like, and it's just been absolutely incredible, because then it makes it obviously gives guys like Juan Soto and obviously Aaron Judge to do something, bring a runner across. And speaking of runners in scoring position, man, like. That definitely needs to improve, because there have been times throughout that series against the Guardians where it's like you need to push runners across. Like, you can't be like swinging for the fences trying to play hero ball all the time. Just need to get it down. Just need to get it, into the outfield, a base hit, whether it's a single, double, triple, I don't care. Just try to get it down and, just get some runs across, because stranding runners, that's the one thing that's been driving me insane. And it's not even just the postseason. That's just been the case in the regular season as well.
Yeah.
When, those really tough games that, you think the Yankees would be able to score like 5+ runs in an inning, and then they end up not scoring any or only scoring 1, which is that's another frustrating thing, because they've had chances where they've had chances to tack on more than a run, and they don't get it. Like, they don't convert on it. I don't know what's going on, but it makes me want to slam my head on a table.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I had a guy about your vintage on the podcast on Saturday, I think it was, and he was saying the exact same thing. And usually people who are your age, and maybe I'm just don't read enough and don't to listen enough, because I'm 50 years old. So usually the younger people, they believe in the analytics a little bit more than and Ryan Bulkley, the captain, the captain to corner. He said that, just put the ball in play. And Luke, you said the exact same thing. Get the ball in play sometimes, and usually, like you guys, your vintage are more of a home run or bust, because that is the Yankee way. That the way of thinking. It's more likely you're going to hit 1 home run than string 3 base hits in a row. And I'm a little bit different because I remember this is a long time ago, but Gary Sheffield, ex-Yankee, he said, if I wanted to, I'd get a base hit every time. If I wanted to, because he had such good back control, and eventually you do swing for power. You want to hit one into the 5th row or out in the bleachers into 103 or 203, but pitchers are so good nowadays. Putting the ball in play is tough, and then hitting a home run's even tougher. What's your thoughts? Like the analytics guys, are they wrong? Is there a fine line between the two? What if you were the leading management of the department of hitting baseballs for the New York Yankees, which way would you lean?
I mean, I mean, I feel like it depends, especially for like certain players. Like obviously, Aaron Judge is, he's trying to put one into the second deck, obviously. But I think it really all depends on the situation and the scenario. But I'm more so, for a while I used to. This was just my belief. I always was, you know, especially when I was really young, I was like, I want a home run. I want to see this team hit nothing but home runs. But now it's like, especially now in the postseason scenario, it's like now, like as I've gotten older, it's like, all right, we can't be swinging for the fences every at bat now. Like we need to put it in play, singles, doubles, whatever. If the fielding team, if the defense makes an error, so be it. If that's a way to get on base, I will take that. But yeah, definitely. I know for a while it's been like home run or bust, but I'm leaning more so like just getting a hit, just getting a single, double, triple, whatever it may be. But yeah, I feel like I'm not really much more of a really not much of a home run or bust guy anymore.
Well, the thing is, the other night that in the 10th inning, without the ball getting put in play, there isn't the error that didn't lead to that led to the two guys being on that led to the Soto home run. So putting the ball in play has a lot of meaning, in my opinion, because if he strikes out there, then what? Like if you strike out, you're out. Nothing happens. Nothing
Exactly.
happens if you strike out, and the way it's home run or bust, and launch angle and exit velocity. Like who cares? Get on base. Like get on
Exactly.
base.
Just
I've never understood that. Like the shift has been gone for a couple of years now, but when you had this is like the Mark Teixeira years, they would just put everybody on the right side of the field, and he would ground out all the time because like the shift probably took 3 or 4 years off Teixeira's lifespan, really, because he would refuse to try to just hit one the other way. It's just the way he plays, and like at least Rizzo he can bunt a little bit, but putting the ball in play and because people aren't perfect. If you give people enough chances to screw things up, they will. Like they will, no matter what facets of life, they'll find a way to screw things up. Uh, this Dodger team's really good, and obviously with Shohei Ohtani leading the charge there, and Mookie Betts, and on it goes with the Yankees. But even though the Dodgers have home field advantage, I really like, and this isn't just being a Yankee, my Yankee fandom coming through. I think that the Yankees have a just as good or better of a lineup. Yeah, is Ohtani, he's not $30 million a year better than Judge, but is Ohtani better than Judge? Probably, because he's hitting something for like 880 with runners in scoring position in these playoffs, which is like that's video game numbers what he's putting up. Is this a simple thing for the Dot or for the Yankees? Shut Ohtani down, and you're going to have a better chance. But shut Ohtani down, and that's it.
that I feel like it's going to go a little bit more. I feel like there's a little bit more to it than that because, yeah, shutting Ohtani down is going to be a big thing to deal with. But then you got the other guys in their lineup. You got Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Freddie Freeman, obviously, and then all the other guys like Tommy Edman. If you watch the Dodgers and Mets game, Tommy Edman was he was killing the Mets in that game. I mean, so they got. It's not like it's like yeah, if you shut down Ohtani, it's like now you got to prevent all these other guys from doing damage against you. So
I keep forgetting about Teoscar Hernandez for some reason. That's he used to play for the Jays.
it seems like from what every time I've seen him face the Yankees, he just immediately kills them. Like one bad pitch to him, and he just sends it into the bleachers. I mean,
were you secretly hoping for a Mets Yankees World Series, a Subway Series, or did it, or is this one more? I think like this one's a sexier matchup for the country, obviously. But as a New Yorker, were you more thinking, a Subway Series might not be the worst thing because I think the Yankees handled them. I think the Yankees handled the Mets in 3.5 games, let alone 4. But that's just my opinion. Like, is it? What were you hoping for out there?
I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping for a Subway Series because I have family members, specifically my grandmom, my grandmother, who's a diehard Mets fan. So that would have been, and we just been going back and forth about, the Yankees and the Mets. So it would have been something incredible to watch. Obviously, I have a lot of friends that are Yankees fans and Mets fans. So it would have been absolutely incredible to watch. And New York in general would have been an absolute scene. It would have been an absolute scene to see both Yankee Stadium and Citi Field just, fill up to the brim. It would have been something special. But again, this is going to be an incredible matchup, one way or the other. So it's going to be
there's still
fun to watch.
There's still people down in Brooklyn who are Dodger fans still. So it's not that, not much, obviously, but I've been down Coney Island way a few times, and there are still Dodger fans down there that through and through, because the Dodgers left in the 50s, and it's crazy to think 70 years later they're still sticking with their team, because their grandfathers were and their fathers were, and it's crazy to think that it's going to be that way. Have you had a chance to go to Citi Field?
I have multiple times, actually. I went with my grandmother. The Yankees weren't playing there, but she wanted to go, she really wanted to go to a Mets game. So I said, why not? Let's do it. And I believe it was the Mets Phillies. It was like, it's got to be like 5 or 6 years ago at this point. Yeah, I think it was when like guys like Lucas Duda were on the Mets team. Yeah, that's how long.
The often heard of, rarely seen Lucas Duda.
Yeah, I mean, it was that, and I remember because
in the 4-year history of this dumb podcast, that's the first Lucas Duda reference. So congratulations there, Luke.
Oh man, there's just certain names, like again from those times I went. There's just certain names you remember that are whether they're mainstream names or like guys that have only spent like a year or two on a particular team. There are just certain names you remember. That just so happened to be one of them I remember because I remember it was like the 7th or 8th inning, like the Mets might have been down like 3 or whatever, and then Duda hit a home run, I believe. It's been so long. And then on top of that, a few years later, I actually got the chance to go to Citi Field for a Subway Series game. So, and that was when I believe Brian McCann and Carlos Beltran were Yankees.
Yeah.
Oh man, and that
I saw. I just remembered who hit the walk-offs in that Oakland series I was talking to you about back in 2019. The Saturday it was Brett Gardner, and then the Sunday was Mike Ford. Remember him? 2019.
Oh man,
it's not that long ago, but he's like
Ford tough.
Yeah, he was. It was something else. That series was a lot of fun, and we were sitting in section 103. And the one baseball went just to the right of us, the other one just to the left of us, and so it didn't have a place. One went into the bullpen, and one went into, and Gardner's went into the second deck. But they were both right around us. So it was really neat. It was good. Sorry, I jump around sometimes. But back to Citi Field, what's it like? I meant to go, and it just hasn't worked out every time I've been in New York. I've heard it's incredible. Yeah, it's
absolutely incredible. You definitely need to get there. Like, it's an unbelievable ballpark. Just the entire stadium, the seats. I mean, the views are just spectacular. So it's a really good ballpark to go, especially for a Subway Series game.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I went for the Subway Series, it was a little different. Both teams were kind of meh. I mean, This was probably a year or two before Aaron Judge came up onto the team. So this was this was when Brian McCann was still on the team, or was on the team. Carlos Beltran was a Yankee for a little bit.
That would have been 2014, if I recall correctly, because I remember I went to that was the year Jeter's last year. I think probably would have been there.
I think it was either that, because I don't think
already.
I don't think because I don't remember seeing Jeter. I don't remember seeing Jeter in that series. But I think I want to say Didi was there too. Didi Gregorius.
So it would have been 15 then. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been 15.
So
I love Didi. I like Didi. Didi was he was the perfect replacement at the time for Jeter. Yeah, they didn't win, but 17 they came close, and 19 but the way Didi came into the Yankees realm after the obviously the legend Jeter left, Didi was the right guy for that job at the right time.
Oh, Didi Gregorius was absolutely electric. Just he's had some incredible moments in pinstripes. I was really sad when he left. I was really sad. That was rough. And then correct me if I'm wrong. I think he went to I want to say he went to the Phillies after that.
Yeah, he was there for a cup of coffee too, and then he was
Yeah.
out of the league shortly thereafter. So Didi was a great Yankee. I think I shouldn't say great Yankee because great Yankees are in Monument Park. He was a really good Yankee, and if because he had those 2 home runs in 2017 against Minnesota when they fell behind early in that first wild card game. Like, oh geez, and they got the Yankees back to 0, and Severino had to start. And on it when they ended up winning that and going to the ALCS, losing those good, dirty, rotten cheap.
Speaking of Sevy, I mean, I wish things.
I like him too.
I really wish things kind of went off on a better note with Sevy, because I know that last season was rough for him. So it was great to. I know this isn't he wasn't on the Yankees this year. He was on the Mets. But it was great to see him sort of like bounce back, have those bounce back, performances. But, it was because last year, again, was rough. Last year was just woof.
It's funny to watch old videos in the YouTube or whatever you might have it, or highlights on whatever it might be, and you see Severino's got about probably 15 to 20 pounds less and no facial hair, and how just 7 years has changed him from one uniform to the next, going just across the city, how things have changed so much for him. Let's talk about the past a little bit more. Who's your favorite Yankee of all time?
Oh, I mean, obviously it's going to be like Jeter and Mariano.
Okay. Other than Jeter, other than the guys behind me, Jeter, Mariano, who else I got back there? I got Posada, and then who's over here? Pettit's over there. Like, other than like the core 4, and everybody talks about them, obviously. Who's your guy?
Hideki Matsui. I mean,
you're the second person who said that.
Hideki Matsui, just the stance he had. It felt like every time he was coming up the plate, at least when I was, this was just in my eyes, but it felt like every time he came up to the plate, he was going to just absolutely deck one into the right field stands, all the way up into the second or third level, especially back when it was the old stadium. But he's just been, I actually have a jersey. I actually have a 2009, the road jersey with the World Series patch and the new stadium patch.
I never got a chance to go to the old place. That's one that I kicked myself in the ankle often for not going. I got a couple of souvenir seats from there, but I've talked to people like when I've been to New York in the past, and the stories, and obviously stories get better and better as the years go on. But I've heard stories that especially in the 2001 World Series, where they ended up losing one of the greatest World Series of all time. They ended up losing to the Arizona in the 9/11 year. It all was just the thing. How that place was literally just shaking with the Brocious home run, and that whole the way that whole week played out. Yeah, you hear those stories. It's just it gives me goosebumps a little bit just now thinking about that, and thinking there might be some memories that come down the lane that are something like that to the new place. Because the new place, it's all right and it's good, but it doesn't have the same feel as what I'm told. Have you ever talked to anybody about the old place, and did you ever get to go? And what are some thoughts maybe that your family might have of the old place?
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to go to the old stadium a few times in my life. This was
I don't like you that much right now, but whatever, it's fine. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it was probably a year or two before they closed it and eventually, put up the new stadium. But one particular memory I have from the old stadium, regular season game, I believe it was Yankees Orioles, and it was either Yankees Orioles or Yankees Angels. Like it was that long ago. Like I'm pretty sure I still have the ticket stubs. That's the funny part and all
that. That you have a ticket stub for starters is something that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it's which is unfortunate because those are like,
man,
those are mementos right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was against the Orioles, and I remember one particular memory. Specifically, my mom said, like, "Watch, A-Rod's about to hit a home run." And then literally like 2 pitches later, he sends one in the like dead center or left field in the where Monument Park used to be.
Yeah.
And the place was just going absolutely ballistic. And meanwhile, I was like 6 or 7 at the time. And I was just looking up in shock and like, oh, you called that? Oh my God. Yeah. And just the place was going absolutely ballistic. So that was definitely probably one of the biggest memories I have from my experience at the old Yankee Stadium.
No, it's like the first time I went there in 2013, and I got dropped off by a cab outside the Yankee Tavern there, and I said, "This is pretty great." Like the whole atmosphere before a game, and people going from bar to bar and restaurant to restaurant, just milling about the stadium. There, like I know all places have that, but when you're a fan of a team and you haven't had the chance to do something like that, it's hard to put into words. And even when I go back after my first trip, and you like take the subway from Manhattan, and you go up the stairs there, and it's just Yankees, right? And it just smells like Yankee Stadium, and all of it is just, it's great. And anybody who hasn't had a chance to go, like I can't recommend more than to go and check it out. Like it's a playoff ticket might not be doable, but if you even go to a game in April or May, like that you'll have a memory to last forever. Like it's hard to describe. If you have, it's really
incredible.
Hard to describe.
It's unbelievable. I remember when I first I remember like a few years after I got my driver's license, so I'm like 2021 at this point, so that was like a few years back. I remember I decided, out of all things, to start driving the Yankee games. That was because I live like 2.5 hours north of the stadium.
Okay.
So, and it's a doable drive. And then I'm like, shortly after, I'm like, all right, I might as well just take a train at this point. This is just madness. But I started taking the train and doing that. And it's just been just getting off at the station and walking up over the platform and seeing the stadium right there is just absolutely incredible. And I went to quite a bit of games this year. I actually went to it was one game against Toronto at home. I managed, this was one thing I was planning on doing this season. I want to catch like an Aaron Judge home run on video, just to have that, because every time I try to catch a home run, the video like starts like after the ball's already gone and the guy's already rounding the bases. I was able to get that, and that video is going to be, stuck in my phone for the rest of the time, because it was just incredible.
Yeah, the first time I went out to New York, I didn't like. I've been to a number of Major League stadiums. I didn't, and for some reason, being a Yankee fan, I don't know why I didn't do a little research going to New York for the first time. Like Google's a thing. I don't know why I didn't do a little fact checking or Expedia reviews or whatever. But I made the wise decision to stay actually in the Bronx at a Days Inn just down the road there, about a 12 minute walk. Yeah, I didn't do that for very, very many years after that. Like, it was fine. Everything was fine. But like just knowing the subway system and how easy it is to get from Manhattan to the Bronx. And the thing is about, like, you just jump on the train. If you don't know where you're going, just follow the jerseys. They'll show you where to go.
Oh,
it's really quite easy.
That's what I found out real quick, because like the last year I was actually living in Brooklyn for a little bit. I was living in Brooklyn for a year, and then I ended up, moving back. But I had no idea what was going on with the train routes, the subway routes, like especially going to Yankee Stadium. And then eventually, like, I got on the one train.
Get on the D, and you just go. Done.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. And then I get on the train. I'm like, am I on the right train? And then I see all the other like Yankee jerseys. I'm like, yeah, I'm on the right train.
Yeah, it starts to pick up steam a little bit. Then there's a few more. And okay, I'm good. I know I know where I'm going. No, it's game day in New York is gonna be is fantastic. I'm a little jealous. I can't get to a playoff game this year, but I'm gonna have some Yankee fans over here down the Yankee Tavern, the North. I call my basement the Yankee Tavern North. It should be a lot of fun. Who's gonna win? What's your thoughts?
Oh man, as nervous as I am for this series, I'm gonna say the Yankees in 7 games.
I'm leaning 6-7 Yankees as well. I got faith in Cole in probably 1-4 or probably 1-4-7 with the day rest in between. They're going to utilize whoever they can in game 6 and 7 and just find a way to get it done. The Dodgers have a bit of a you look what they had to do in game 6 of the Mets series. They went with a full bullpen game, and that almost came back to bite them a little bit. But a hit here and a hit there. The Mets are probably playing this week, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I think it's going to be a very good series. And it's been nice to like I said, calm down a little bit, have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to just, okay, let's talk about the good times. Let's think about the stressful times at all, and just kind of get through it, because I think we're in some very stressful evenings at 8:08 Eastern time for 7 nights out of the next 10 or 12, whatever it might be. It's going to be fun. So yeah, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be an insane series, and people that are not watching the series because it's the Dodgers and the Yankees, like you're missing out. Like, it's going to be one hell of a series, just because the amount of talent. I don't think from watching previous World Series, I don't think I've ever seen this much talent on 2 teams going up against each other in like quite some time. Like the Dodgers, obviously Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. Who else am I missing? Max Muncy, Teoscar Hernandez.
Muncy's got the most home runs in Dodger history in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and he gets forgotten about.
Yeah, no, like it's insane. And then obviously with the Yankees, Judge, Soto, Stanton,
Cole,
Rizzo,
and
Rodon. I mean,
no, it's
Glaber. Volpe's been doing well this postseason.
You know what? Like, I crap on Volpe a little bit because he gets hits, but then he doesn't, and he gets hits and he doesn't. Like, and he's just kind of there. But he's been solid.
A lot more disciplined.
My guy last series, I was to my dark horse guy was going to be Jazz Chisholm Jr. to start doing something okay. He was so bad in the DS, it didn't really do a whole bunch. I thought, okay, he's gonna shut his yap and let his mouth do or his bat do the talking, and he just hasn't. So maybe this time around he'll start doing something. Maybe in the World Series. Who knows? He seems to like being a Yankee. I mean, how could?
Oh, absolutely.
He just has to start doing something. I don't know.
Like obviously he's at third base he's been great at defense. Everyone at this point knows it, but like again, at some point, like the bat needs to come alive. Like it doesn't. You don't need to like. He doesn't need to like put one into the bleachers every at bat. Definitely does not need to do that. But like, just give me something, like a single, a double, whatever it is. Just give me something. And I think he needs to be a little more. He needs to be a little more disciplined at the plate, because seeing some of his swings have been egregious.
We finish off every podcast with something we like to call 3 easy questions. You can't get them wrong. Well, you can in the voice of public opinion, but it's just your opinion. You can't get them wrong in your eyes, or if it's really wrong, I'll let you know. You ready to go? 3 easy questions. Finish things off. Ready to go? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
That's wrong. When you do your shirt up, do you do it from the top to the bottom button or the bottom to the top?
I do it to the top to the bottom button.
That's the right answer. Actually, I got 2 more. When you get dressed in the morning, you put your socks on before your pants, or pants on before your socks?
Oh, socks on before my pants.
I'm the other way around. It doesn't matter. You can't be wrong. And last but not least, we'll do a Yankee-centric one. Should Alex Rodriguez, 1, be in Monument Park, 2, be in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
My opinion, yes. He should be in Hall of Fame, absolutely. Obviously people are going to have, his opinions, but, like, I mean, he was good before everything. He was a really good player before, the steroids.
Like Bonds, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like the fact that this is even a question, like both players were on Hall of Fame paces before the steroids. So, in my opinion, yes, A-Rod should be in the Hall of Fame, and I do believe he should be in Monument Park. And I'm sure that's going to rile up certain Yankee fans, but it is what it is.
The Yankees don't win a World Series in 09 without him.
Yep,
pretty simple.
Exactly.
Pretty simple. Luke, this is a lot of fun talking some Yankee baseball. Relax a little bit, talk about some old times, talk about the old place. Thanks for answering some weird old guys Twitter message on a Sunday night and coming on the show. We'll have to do it again once the World Series gets going on an off night. And we'll talk about how it's going so far and everything else.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Not Luke. This is a lot of fun. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Yankees Hype Week brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Remember, everybody, use promo code 1420SEAT at SeatGeek.com today. And maybe not during the playoffs. $20 isn't going to save you anything, really, because the tickets are $1,000 to get in, if there's any tickets even left. But one of those things. But remember, everybody, smart people bunt, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night.